Good afternoon, everyone. We'll call to order the Board of Directors meeting for the Knox County Juvenile Service Center. If you would, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Walsh?
Present.
Commissioner Jackson?
Here.
Commissioner Hill?
Here.
Commissioner Lee?
Here.
Commissioner Day?
Here.
All 5 members are present.
Thank you very much. Are there any amendments to today's agenda? Seeing none, we'll move to the approval of the minutes from the last meeting. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Jackson. On any changes, any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. I was not contacted by anybody about public forum. Is there anybody here that wishes to speak to the board? Okay, seeing none, we'll go to item number 5 and welcome Ms. Megan Lively, if you would. Join us at the podium and give us an update on how things are going inside of the facility. If you would just state your name and title for the record, please.
Hello, Megan Lively. I'm the office manager at the Juvenile Center. We have 6 open officer positions, 3 that can't be filled until after the new fiscal year. That's because of retirements and things. We have 3 new hires that are set to begin next week. We still have 1 opening on the facility assistant. We have interviews this week for that. We have a new member on FMLA that will be out for the next few weeks, possibly months. And then we have still 3 on intermittent, 1 on leave of absence. We've had several new hires in the last little bit, but as we've always shared with everybody here that about 20 to 30% walk right out after they hear the doors close. So that's kind of ongoing, but we're filling them, and then the ones that are staying, they're doing really well after their training with everybody. So,
Overall in staffing, you had reported last time that with some of the resources from Knox County and some of the new hire, things were stabilizing, getting better, starting to get into more routine. That still is on the right trajectory?
yes, so instead of it being a training that you just kind of get when you get it, they standardize the training for the facility, so their first day on the job, they're getting in depth with our policy and the procedures that they created. So they're getting that time with the lieutenant and sergeant and captain of knowing all of the policies throughout the facility. So that's one thing that's been very beneficial, so that they're not getting that on the back end of things and then wondering how to do things. So
Good.
The training that they standardize has been phenomenal for our facility. And going with that, they are starting a field training officers team. It's a team of 2 officers. They are going to provide additional shift coverage and ensure consistent training across all the shifts. So they're going to do a 30-day rotation to 1st, 2nd, and 3rd and continue that training that they get during their onboarding process. And then, of course, the facilities, PBA is still working on enhancing our pods and lighting. Last week, DLZ and PBA completed their walkthrough. And they also shared with us the information on the mental health assessment centers that they toured in West Tennessee.
Who is DLZ contracting?
It is a consulting firm.
With PBA?
From PBA,
Got
yes.
it, okay.
Yeah. And then CTAS, as we reported last month, basically the last 15 that are in progress are budget constraints. So while we're trying to make those moves to get those completed, it's just waiting on.
Those are mostly those capital projects.
Yes, mostly capital projects.
And we don't, I know that the ask, of course, we reported it's in the governor's budget, but until that budget cycle finishes,
Yes.
it won't translate to working with us, but I imagine this spring that will happen.
Yep.
Okay. Any questions for Ms. Wayne?
Yeah, the field training officers, are they floaters or are they 2 staffers who go to train each shift?
So they are 2 staff members that, one's a veteran officer with us, one is a newer hire to us, but has years of experience. Then they are going to just continue that 2 each shift. So the first 30 days they'll be on day shift, and then they'll go to 2nd shift, and then 3rd shift, just consistent training throughout the facility.
Okay.
Are they pulled out of the normal operations numbers?
They are, but they will help fill in those gaps. Like If we notice that second shift is gonna have extra on vacation or something, then they'll go to that for that 30 days. That way they can still be on the floor.
So they're being
and help.
utilized
They
everywhere.
can help all the way.
Any other operational questions?
Who is hiring the nurse? Who's doing it? Who's actually making the hire?
Well, when we have an opening for a nurse, they would do the typical application process and interview with our administrative team.
Okay, but you all are hiring the nurse, not, so there just hadn't been any,
We don't have a nurse position at this time. We only have one RN
all right,
available.
but
for
that's
us.
something we've asked for in the budget for next year.
Correct.
Yeah, for next
Yes.
year. And it may be, by that time, the health department, I imagine, would be involved on the advisory board. Maybe they could be helpful in that process. So, all right, thank you, Megan. Appreciate that. We had a agenda review last night. On the commission agenda is the second reading of the ordinance to do the transition starting on April 1st to Judge Irwin. And under judicial model, there weren't any questions last night, so I don't know of any new things that have come up with anybody on commission beyond our first reading. That will be on second reading next Monday. So if nothing changes and there's a majority of support for that on next Monday's board meeting, then that would finish the transition process. So, and just left that on there as it's sort of a pending item. If anybody has any questions about that here, of course, you're all commissioners, so you're going to have a question next week too. So that's on second reading next week, and we will tackle that. I'm going to go to number 8 and then come back to 7. One of our pieces of homework was to provide to Judge Irwin and his team a just set of basic governing bylaws. So I took a conglomeration of 5 or 6 models that I had used in other organizations, and then a little bit of help from some folks that had some sample ones. I think PBA is one I looked at, and I sort of put them all together. This is a basic framework. Of course, this is to present to Judge Irwin. He and his team will need to review that, and then it would, when new board members are selected, I think the bylaws and the board members would come to commission for sort of final approval. But one of our bits of homework was to at least provide something. You'll see that this is a very basic framework. It follows the ordinance of who's on the board, how it might meet, when it meets, what are the conditions it meets under, how do they elect their officers, when shall they, report, and what does voting and quorum look like, and what are the roles and responsibilities. So if anybody has any questions about that, let me know. Otherwise, there's nothing to vote on. It's just providing to you the same thing that I have provided to Judge Irwin and his team. And if you have any changes, now would be a time. But I tried to keep it really basic.
It's
So-
pretty much like what we discussed
Yeah.
already. Yeah.
So, okay. Yeah.
Can we cover timeline for like submitting names and then when those names would be okay by the commission or voted on by the commission?
So you mean for the board members?
Yeah.
Okay, so anything else about the bylaws? Okay, I'm gonna go back to then item number 7. So, today, the second part of our homework was for us to bring names to here to then give to the judge. That doesn't put a deadline of this is the last day. I have 3 people to bring to the table and recommend. One, I can explain mine in a second, but basically, timeline-wise, if they're going to meet beginning in July sometime, then they need to be voted on by commission in June. So in theory, both the mayor and Judge Irwin and the commission would probably need to choose, I'm just going to say in May. By the end of May, they need to have picked their selection so that it could be on the June agenda. Does that sound about right? June, so it would be placed on the June agenda so they could begin working in July.
Well, you're referring to the June agenda. The commission agenda?
Yes, because part of the ordinance that we changed, the line that we changed in real time at the meeting on first reading was that all board members that were selected by either the judge or the mayor had to be approved by the commission. So we added that little sort of check and balance. So they have to go on our agenda for approval.
Okay.
So I would say May selection. So let's say this: you should probably give all of your recommendations to the judge by tax day, April 15th. That's about a month from now. If he needs time and their team needs time to sort of go forward.
So they can be very informal. A name, a number, brief resume if you want to include it, but it doesn't have to be anything.
So we'll just say anybody that wants to recommend anyone to the judge or to the mayor. Remember, the mayor would have two appointments, one of which would be just a citizen, and one is going to be the representative from the health department, one that's just a citizen. So recommendations could go to Judge Irwin or it can go to Mayor Jacobs, and then that would fill out the board. So does that answer your question? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
Imagine the health department, somebody had to be ordered to take it. To me, it's extra work.
I'm sure
Somebody
there's
over
people
there.
that help over there. So.
All right. Yeah, somebody have to be asked to help, yes.
Does anyone have any to submit today that, besides me, that wants to go first? No? Okay. I'll just tell you who the three I've done, and then I'll just give it to them. I have one that is expert in juvenile social services. It's Brett Kilgore, professor of criminal justice and a law enforcement academy instructor in the mental health department. Dr. Leanne Goldstein, who's well-versed in all things mental health. Mm-hmm. And then the third one, got stuck to another piece of paper, here you go, is Catherine Ogle, who works in juvenile legal work now, and actually has presented cases in this court previously. So those are three names that I'm just gonna pass on over to the judge and for his consideration. So, any other questions about item number 7?
Yeah, I understand that applications have to be in by April 15th.
Yes.
When does my decision have to be made in order to get it on commission?
I would say by May 15th,
Okay.
because we have to put it on the June agenda, so.
May agenda. Trying to vote on this in May,
No, June.
of June.
Yeah, I mean, if we can get it done, if you want to get it done sooner and send it over, we could get it done sooner.
I'll
but-
let you know as soon as I know.
Okay. So June commission agenda, and then they would start working in July.
Okay.
And I imagine your team has a lot of internal housekeeping of what the schedule might be and, looking through the bylaws and all that kind of stuff. So there's some paperwork to do. Any other questions about board meeting members' recommendations? Okay. Any other new business for this board? Those were our last deliverables for this board to present to the judge and present to the board. Pending anything that would be different if it's approved on second reading at next week's county commission meeting, then our job is done as the transition board. So if we have any other new business, of course, any commissioner can participate in this board or any other board at any time. The board meetings will be open and they will be transparent. They will be available to everyone to participate in, and we're not going away. We're just done with our transition work. So I just want to say thank you all for spending, how many? You were counting.
8.
8 months. I saw you counting over here. It's been 8 long months, and I want to thank Judge Irwin for being very patient in this process and open to the transition. And I want to thank you all for spending a lot of extra time, and the team for
Thank you,
enduring an
guys.
8-month process that
Really,
has
I
been.
know it's been a
I want to compliment the
I
staff.
know.
I want to compliment the staff at the detention center. They've been getting told a lot of things by a lot of different people. Sometimes those instructions are consistent, sometimes they aren't. they have really stuck with it. And I think things are getting better. I think things are improving over there daily, weekly, monthly. We're still working on some issues, but I feel very confident that things are going in the right direction, much more confident than I did at the beginning of this process. And I'd like to thank all the commissioners for coming down here. There's times where I'd love to just rip the veil off this whole place and show you what really went on down here. The social side, the legal, the delinquent side, show you what really goes on. And but you've made a difference, and I appreciate your time on this, and we will try to pick some good people to succeed you.
Any other thoughts from the board?
No doubt better people.
Some good people. I don't know if we better.
All right, with no other business before the committee, this meeting and board is adjourned. Thank you for the work.